What's good, everyone? It's Nigel here, Black Sex Apparel. So, I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet because I've had a few questions now asking me how do I stay lean in the off season? How do I keep myself in shape? How do I keep myself competition ready or close to competition ready in the off season? And the answer is quite simple. If you stay with me till the end of this video, I'll explain exactly how I do it.
Well done. Well done, Fever. Well done, Fever. Shout to CJ. Shout to CJ. Yeah. You know niggas couldn't wait to get busy on this one.
What's good, everyone? It's Nigel here, Black Sex Apparel. So, I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet because I've had a few questions now asking me how do I stay lean in the off season? How do I keep myself in shape? How do I keep myself competition ready or close to competition ready in the off season? And the answer is quite simple. If you stay with me till the end of this video, I'll explain exactly how I do it. Right, straight to it. How do I keep myself in shape in the off season? It's really simple. I keep my carbs low and I do intermittent fasting. I keep my carbs low and I incorporate intermittent fasting. It's simple as that. Now I'd go on to explain to you exactly what I do and how I do it. So, keeping my carbs low. I've essentially eliminated carbs for the most part. So I don't eat a lot of carbs anyway. I keep it very, very low. I do have carbs, but I keep it for the most part. It's extremely, extremely low. My food source is protein, fiber, and fats. That's protein, fiber, and fats. And if there's anything we are missing out in our diet, if there's any food source that we're missing out, it's fiber. So make sure you're having enough fiber. So carbs, again, we don't need carbs. Carbs has become, over the years, has become an addiction. We become addicted to carbs. If you don't know, carbs is essentially sugar. And sugar is one of the most, if not the most addictive thing on the planet. Carbs is sugar. So when you think about carbs, think sugar. The more carbs you eat, the more sugar you're putting into your system. You reduce the sugar you're putting into your system, and you see a reduction in body fat. Now, in doing so, people think, oh, well, that's carbs is your energy, and we've been missold this for years. You need carbs because carbs is your energy, and this and that, and especially the guys who train, oh, yes, I must have this amount of carbs, or I must have, and I'm only saying what works for me, right? I've tried this on myself, and you guys who've asked me the question have seen what I look like now. I haven't lost an ounce of muscle. And I've kept my, I've eliminated carbs from my diet. My energy hasn't suffered. My energy levels are still low. I'm still as strong as I was when I was eating carbs, a couple of years ago. But for the most part, I keep my carbs low, and I incorporate intermittent fasting. So when I say intermittent fasting, I don't get up in the morning. I don't get up in the morning craving food. Or the first thing I grab is oats or porridge oats or eggs or whatever it is that you eat first thing in the morning for breakfast, or your full English breakfast, whatever you eat first thing in the morning. I don't do that. I used to, but I've eliminated it. I've stopped doing it. And when I did that back in the day, my weight, I walked around maybe just over 100 kilos. Felt really big, felt a bit bloated, but everyone looked at me, oh, look at me, so big, blah, blah, blah. Bodybuilders, that bodybuilding mentality. You can look big and puffy all the time. But essentially, I was carrying a lot of puppy fat, a lot of fat over my muscles that made you look big until you diet down and you realize, actually, this is all an illusion. This bulky look I had in the winter with clothes on didn't translate into muscle. It's just a waste, really. Yeah, maybe you felt stronger, or I did feel stronger, but I didn't feel healthy. I felt bloated. I felt slow in my movement. I felt, it's not a great feeling. So, and that's purely from me, the amount of food I was eating in terms of the amount of carbs I was eating. And not to mention the fact that carbs spikes your insulin. So every time you eat carbs, it spikes your insulin. So that's another thing you got to remember. You're constantly spiking your insulin when you're eating carbs. So anyone that suffers from illnesses such as diabetes, or are worried about eventually getting diabetes, that's one thing to consider. That you need to look at your carbohydrate intake. Carbs is essentially sugar. Carbs is essentially sugar. Remember that. Sugar is one of the most addictive things on the planet. So you reduce your carbs and you will see a drastic reduction in body fat. Another thing I said I do is intermittent fasting. So I don't get up in the morning and have a breakfast. I tend to, my first meal of the day, depending on when my last meal the following day was or the following night was, will dictate. So I have a period of fasting for about 15 hours. My generally, so typically, my last meal is around 8 o'clock, and I don't eat again until the following day at around midday. But in that period of eating, that 8-hour period of eating, I'm getting my protein, my calorie contents in as a bodybuilder. I'm getting my protein contents in, right? I'm getting enough protein to sustain or to carry the amount of muscle I do carry. And that's the trick. So if you don't know, you should try essentially how much protein do I need? And this is the simplest way of working it out. You look at how much you weigh in kilos or pound, and you double that in terms of your protein. So if you weigh 90 kilos, which is very similar to what I weigh as I go on the stage, you're essentially looking to eat around 180 grams of protein a day, a minimum 2 to 1, a minimum of 180 grams of protein per day. And you try and sustain that consistently over a period of time. And that's how you retain or build muscles, by going to the gym. Right? So you go to the gym, you tear your muscles up, but you got to repair it. You repair it by consuming protein. You also need your fibers. You also need your fats. So those are the 3 things you need. You need your fibers, you need your protein, and you need your fats. You don't need carbohydrates. You do not need carbohydrates. Everyone thinks, I need it for my energy. I guarantee if you stop eating carbs, or you lower your carbs intake, I'm saying you don't have to stop eating altogether, but you lower your carb intakes, you probably feel it for the first few weeks because your body's so used to this sugar, this addictiveness of the sugar, right? Your body's used to it. For the first few weeks or so, you might feel a bit crap because your body is waning off. It's like a drug, isn't it? Sugar is a drug, essentially. But your body is weighing itself off that sugar, that drug. And you may feel a bit crap. It's like an alcoholic, I suppose. An alcoholic can't just stop drinking like that because their body crashes or all sorts goes on. I don't know the science behind it. A doctor would explain better, but you can't just wane yourself off alcohol. You have to, slowly or gradually do it. It's the same with protein, with carbohydrate. You do it slowly. But maybe you should, if you're going to go low carbs or no carbs, maybe do it gradually. Eventually eliminate it. I'm more extreme. I just went bang, no carbs. I felt it for the first few weeks, and after that, my body got used to it. I got leaner. I'm able to maintain that leanness year in, year out. Whether I'm competing or not competing, I stay lean year in, year out, and that's simply because I've eliminated my carbohydrates, the sugar, and I've replaced it with fats, fiber, and of course, I eat protein anyway. So that's it. It's really simple. I did mention about intermittent fasting as well. Again, that's something I incorporate, and that works really well. It works well for me. It's something, if you're interested in doing it, you should try it. There's a lot of health benefits that goes into intermittent fasting. If you want, do your research, Google, use YouTube. There are loads of doctors out there talking about the benefits of intermittent fasting. I'd suggest that you look into it as well. So how do I stay lean? I eat like a lion. That's going to be the name of this podcast. Eat like a lion. And the reason I say that is that if you look at a lion and the way a lion eats, catches its prey, normally a good bit of protein, it eats it, and then it chills. It doesn't eat like a cow. You look at a cow or a pig, it's constantly grazing, heads down all the time. You see them, they're constantly grazing. And you look at the difference between a cow and a lion, the amount of muscle mass on a lion versus the amount of muscle mass on a cow or pig. It's a vast difference. A vast difference, right? So eat like a lion. Eat like a lion, intermittent fasting, get your protein in, get your fibers in, get your fats in, eliminate your carbs, and you'll see a huge reduction in body fat and a huge retention in muscles. That's it for now. Please subscribe, please like, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care, peace.
Well done, Fever. Well done, Fever.